money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome in. We are live in downtown Las Vegas from the Circa Resort and Casino. It is the best time of the year, the best month of the entire year. The madness is upon us. A lot of these smaller conference tournaments now underway, and more of them begin tonight as well. And we will start talking college basketball this hour with the great Seth Greenberg from ESPN. He joins us here on the Progressive Guest Line. Seth, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Doing great. Get ready to go into the studio. We got good games tonight. Florida, Alabama, big-time game. Tennessee, Ole Miss, two really good games.
Awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to watch them again tonight. I'll start with this. A lot of great action last night as well. That overtime game between BYU and Iowa State was really, really good down the stretch. BYU hung on to win. Is there a team like on the BYU projected seed line? Right now they're about between a 5 and a 6 the way it looks. But a team like on the 4, 5, 6 line, maybe even a little bit higher, or multiple teams that you really have your eye on and you think they can do some damage in March?
Yeah, I like the BYU team because style of play, in terms of their pace of play, the ability to shoot the ball from the three-point line, an elite point guard that distributes it. They've really improved defensively. They get close to the three-point line, and they're really physical. But, yeah, I like Clemson. I think Clemson's undervalued. Elite 8 team last year. Shefflin is a monster up front. Lakin gives him – he's not P.J. Hall, but he's good. The backcourt of Jaden Zachary and Chase Hunter just dynamic. And now, Brad Brownell, even though they were playing well, he put Dylan Hunter in the starting lineup, which gives him another kind of floor-gamer and shot maker, and another guy that can put pressure on the defense some. And they're getting good minutes out of Wiggins coming off the bench. I like Missouri again. Even though they lost the other night, style of play in the second day of the NCAA tournament is so huge. When you don't have a long time to prepare, you can't simulate what that other team does. I think Missouri is an interesting team. Caleb Grill adds a dimension to him because of his three-point shooting. Tamar Bates is just a flat scorer. Robinson, the kid, is a kind of a hellacious defender. Mitchell's improved every time you watch him play. Maryland with, obviously Derek Queen and Reese and Jacoby Gillespie. I think they're going to be a value when you're looking at teams that can maybe sneak in and make a run. And probably lastly, St. Mary's.
All right.
Great answer.
Mary's, yeah. Saxon is really good. They own the tempo of the game. Marcellonis is dynamic. They're just so damn physical and big and thick, and they don't give up second shots. They make you defend. Another team that's really hard to play against. The Mikey Lewis kid coming off the bench is just a big-time shot maker. So those are something you might want to kind of look at.
Very good.
That's awesome.
Yep. Coach, BYU blew a 21-point lead. Texas tried to give it away. They blew a big lead. Why do you see so many of these blown leads at this time of year? What do you think contributes to that?
Yeah, I'll tell you, the BYU thing, it was like 3 different games. They started the game, they kept on throwing the ball to Iowa State. Then they settled in, and they got Iowa State chasing. Then Iowa State started to score so they could set their defense a little bit. And they went and turned them over. They had 28 turnovers last time and won the game. 28 turnovers. I've never heard of such a thing as 28 turnovers and winning the game. The Texas thing is, look, this time of the year, you better be good in time and score. You better have your dead ball inbound stuff straight. You better be able to understand what you're doing coming out of timeout. You better know, your players better know exactly what you're trying to get done. Like the Texas thing was just a calamity of errors. I mean, that thing was unbelievable. I don't, again, I really do. I like Rodney Terry, but if it was me, it would be a time down the floor any time down the floor. If Trey Johnson doesn't touch the ball coming down the floor, that's a bad possession. It's a bad possession.
Yeah. So what is it then? Because they make a lot of money. They're good coaches. So out of a timeout, when you get a bad shot, does the kid go rogue? Does he try to play hero ball? Does someone not cut? Why do we see bad possessions and tie games with games on the line then?
Well, he doesn't play hero ball. He's actually improved his ability to read and make plays for others. The dead ball inbound was the thing that drove me crazy, and I think that you got to have more actions to get the ball in his hands. We're going to get the ball reversed. We're going to get it in Trey's hands, and you know what? Let's play off of that. Or, all right, we're going to start with a drag ball screen. We're going to try to see if we can get 2 to play him. And then, we can play off of that. Or, he's going to give it up and he's going to set a small, big screen and he's going to come back to the ball. He's going to look to go high, low, and then we're going to play out of that. I just think that guy's too good. You saw what he did to Arkansas. He almost single-handedly beat him in like a 10-minute period. He's got to touch the ball every time down the floor.
Yeah. 2 other teams from last night that pulled out victories, Arkansas and North Carolina. Do you think they're both in at this point? If so, are they dangerous?
Arkansas's down to 7 guys. People laughed at me, and if you're on Twitter, I really don't give a crap what you think, but this is one of the best jobs that John Calipari's done with his team because they were 0-5 in SEC, and this guy was Pauly. And you know what? When you're 0-5, it is hard to keep your team moving forward. Then they lost Boogie Fland. Then they lost Adu Thero. And they've won games, and they're not very talented. They're talented, but they're not crazy talented. I think they're in. I think they, obviously they'd feel a lot safer if they hold serve against Mississippi State, who lost a tough one to Texas. They can't be full of themselves. They went to South Carolina. South Carolina's a really bad matchup for Arkansas because Murray Brawls is just too physical for them. Just too physical. And, you look at the body types of, Brazil. You look at the body types of Big Z. And Jonas Adu, he's not chasing them around all over the floor the way they use him. So I'm interested to see. I mean, like Mississippi State, they got dogs, man. They got dogs, and they could put this Arkansas team in foul trouble. They only got 7 guys. They got to stay out of foul trouble. At home, hyped up. If they win that game, they're in really good shape. Here's the deal. Carolina, I don't know what's going to happen against Duke. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you never know. It's Duke, Carolina. They play Clemson. If they play Louisville, if I'm Carolina, I better win that game because you can do all you want. 1-10 against quad one, but 7 of them were either on the road or neutral court games, and and I understand that. Then Carolina's just won 6 in a row. Look who they've beaten. All right, Florida State's their best win. Everything else is about 136 and higher. So I do think they're playing better. I mean, yesterday they scored in transition. They scored with their defense. Those are 2 really positives. They're getting better, more consistent play out of Van Allen Lubin, which is important. So I think they're getting better now. All right, now they got to strap it on against Duke, and then when they go to the tournament, don't you lose to one of those teams that you just beat.
Great answer.
I've been there, done that. I live that. Don't you do that.
Mm-hmm. Well said.
Because you'll be on the outside looking in.
Yep. You mentioned the big game tonight, and you're going into the studio. What are your thoughts on Florida and Alabama?
I love this Florida team. They're Alabama, a little slower, but better defensively. Chinyelu, to me, is the difference. And I understand that Omori is a really good player, but Chinyelu has gotten so much better. Walter Clayton and Mark Sears matchup's going to be interesting. And then I'm interested to see how Todd Golden defends, the perimeter game of Alabama. Because I thought Auburn did a great job of it. They played loose on the ball, on the screeners, chased everything, and then on the other hand, made them drive it to score. And, took away the 3 and made them drive to score and let their length be a factor at the rim. And I think that's how you have to play Alabama. But none of that makes any sense unless, and here's the big unless you take care of the ball and don't take crappy shots. Because if you take crappy shots, Alabama's going to beat you. That's just the way it is. Yep. And you've got shot selection is really important.
We saw last night how difficult it can be to win on the road in some of these conferences, specifically the SEC, as A&M took down Auburn in that matchup, and they made them look kind of like average in that game. I know that they were without Jones, and they just clinched the SEC title before that. Having said that, to tie it into a game tonight, Tennessee plays at Ole Miss. Tennessee's a small favorite, about 2.5 points here. Do you think Chris Beard's team will be in it enough to maybe give him a chance to win it down the stretch late?
Yeah, I think, Padula's like their closer. He's been really good. I call him a poor man's Mark Price, but he reminds me a little bit of Mark Price in terms of his fearlessness, especially at the end of games. Chris is a great coach. He's just a great coach. This team reminds me a little bit of his Texas Tech team, not as talented, but similar in terms of their DNA. This will be interesting. My gut feeling is Tennessee wins this game. Tennessee, it's real simple. They're going to guard. The question is, how's the game going to be officiated? This could be a rock fight. And then, look, if they shoot over 30% from the three, they usually win. I'm not setting the bar very high right there. Like in their losses, they shoot under 29% from the three-point line. All their SEC wins, they shoot over 30%. So, you can't, Zakai and Gainey and Travis Lanier, they can't shoot blanks.
Right. Well, this is a team, I think, Exhibit A here, right, Coach? In like the final 30 seconds, if Tennessee makes threes in the tournament, they're going to be a Final Four team.
Yeah, they got to do it for 6 nights.
Right, exactly.
4 nights. They can make shots because defensively, and then you just got to be careful how the game's officiated. These SEC games have been really physical, so it'd be interesting to see how they officiate them in the NCAA tournament.
That was a really fun conversation. You can follow Seth on X, like he said, at Seth on Hoops. Catch him on the coverage tonight on ESPN as well. Thank you, Seth. We really appreciate the time.
All right, guys. My pleasure. Thank you.
Well done.
Be good. There you go. Seth Greenberg on the Progressive Guest Line.
I forgot about, he's BYU had 28 turnovers in the game.
Crazy.
I think it was 28-11 turnovers. They still win. Still won up 21 on them.
Right.
Killed them on the glass, too. Killed them.
I want to call it like a really good game. It wasn't. I don't think it was there was a huge comeback and it went to double overtime, but it was kind of hard on the eyes to take last night. Up next, our weekly look at the best and worst teams in college hoops and NBA ATS with totals. 9 teams are still hitting above 70% for the season.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Coming up in 15 minutes, the VP of Circa Resort and Casino, Mike Palm, will join us in studio. We'll get his thoughts on college basketball, the games for tonight, and tournament time, the action so far on these smaller conferences and who he likes in those. Pauly, here you go, your weekly look at the best and worst teams in the NBA and college basketball ATS with totals. We'll throw in the NHL as well. The number 1 team against the spread in the entire country is UC San Diego. Look at that record. They are 23-5, 82.1% on the year, covering on average by 7.7 points per game. Better get in the tournament.
Damn right.
Florida A&M, 21-6.
Who?
Bobby Morris, 23-7 against the spread. Florida in action tonight, 21-8, catching 3.5 against Bama. Dartmouth is 17-7. Central Connecticut State also in action tonight. They're laying 12.5, 13 against Lemoyne. Total, they're 19-8 ATS on the year. South Carolina State 18-8-2. Omaha 20-9.
They play tomorrow.
And Michigan State 19-9-1 against the spread. The worst teams in college basketball ATS: Eastern Washington 7-21-1. Cal State Fullerton 7-20-1. Princeton 8-19-1. This is the real good trash right down here that we're digging around in. Alabama A&M 8-18. Sam Houston State 8-18. NC State Final Four team from last year. South Florida are each 9-20 ATS on the year. The best teams to the over in college basketball: Lemoyne 23-7. That is 76.7%, going over on average by 8.4 points per game. I have them tonight. Temple's 22-7, going over on average by 8.2 points per game. North Florida 22-8 over. Indiana State, along with USC, 21-8. USC's playing Washington tonight. That totals around 150. South Dakota out of the Summit, 20-8 over on the year. Northern Arizona, 19-8. Oregon State and Northwestern, sneaky, under the radar, 21-9 to the over on the year. And there you go. That's the list of 9 teams still hitting above 70% on the season. The best under teams in college basketball: St. Louis, 21-7.
There was a sick under run in there, too, like a 13-1 stretch.
Yeah, that's 75% on the year. New Mexico State, 19-7. Kansas City is 19-8. The Jayhawks are 21-9. Northwestern State 18-8-2. West Virginia 29-1. Sparty 20-9. Cincinnati playing tonight against K-State 20-9 to the under as well. Pretty good. Those are all 69%, which is nice, or above, going to the under. Best NBA teams ATS. Cleveland 40-20-1. I can't tell you how impressive that is for the Cavaliers and the Thunder to be 1-2 on the list. So the Cavs are 20 games over 500, and the Thunder are hitting at 60%. They're 35-23-4 ATS. Here comes Portland. 36-25-1, catching a big number tonight in Boston. The Raptors are 36-25-1. The Pistons, 35-25-2. Memphis, 35-25-1. And the Lakers, 34-25-1 ATS, now up to almost 58% on the year. They did it again last night, covering against the Pelicans.
Good win. Good performance. Yep. Luka looked great.
I'll have more on the Lakers here coming up in a few minutes. The worst NBA teams ATS. Philly, number 1. They are 21-38-2. The Suns came roaring back last night to beat the Clippers into cover, 22-39-1. The Pelicans are 11 games below 500. The Kings are 10 games below 500. The Celtics are 26-34-1. And the Heat make the list at 26-33-1, your worst teams, ATS in the NBA. Best teams to the over. Cleveland, here you go. 41-20. Flew over the total again last night. I don't think Tyler Hero is going to play tonight for the Heat. So you're taking away a guy that's going to score 25 there for Miami. But that total is 221.5.
Yeah, that's too low for a Cavs game.
I think so, too. Memphis, 38-23 to the over. Utah, I think they're sitting everybody tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
Utah is 36-24-1 to the over. Atlanta, 37-25, and their totals are sky high. Denver, 36-25 to the over. New Orleans, 36-25-1. The Thunder, 35-25-2, and the Knicks, 34-26-1 to the over. And your best teams to the under in the NBA, Charlotte is sitting at 63%. They're 38-22. The Magic are 39-24. The Nets are 35-26. The Clippers make the list, as do the Celtics. Boston, 34-27 to the under on the year.
As a result, 5-point move in the total with the Jazz game. All right, hockey for much of the season. Washington been number 1 ROI. These numbers courtesy of Covers.com. And Washington checking in up almost 15 units. Look at the Ducks. With the big win last night, 3-1 on the money line, upsetting Edmonton. They're up 14-29. Columbus, great story, number 3 at ROI. Montreal, right behind them. And then the Jets. What's going on here? Don't blow the division.
All right.
They've lost 3 in a row. That's a bad loss last night. It was a great spot to take on the Islanders, and they lose again. They're still up 10 units, though, after now 3-game losing streak after the long winning streak. Worst ROI, it's been all Nashville, all whole season. Nashville down 20 units and change. They got pummeled last night. The Sharks down 12 units, even though they won a couple in a row. Pittsburgh down 12 units. Buffalo down 11 units. And likewise, the Boston Bruins. Thanks to Jonathan Davis, Chris Otto, and Ian Duncan. Goal in the first 10 at home. Minnesota, 9-1 run. St. Louis, 15-2. Dallas, 7-1. Goal in the first 10 overall. Stars, 19-3 run. Toronto, 18-3. Like it tonight, they're out here against Vegas. And Vegas track record goal in the first 10 in home games. Sharks, 33-15. Nashville, 14-4. Edmonton's on a 15-3 overrun in the first period. Second period, Ottawa, 10 straight overs. Flyers, 10 of 11. Third period overs, the Kings, 13 of 14. Goal in the first 10 after a team is shut out. 74-39 run. Dallas has played 8 straight overs for the game and 11 of 12. Does Ottawa play Washington tonight, I believe? Yes, Ottawa.
No, Washington has the Rangers tonight.
Thank you. Ottawa's played Chicago. Ottawa's played 9 of the last 10 overs. Washington on a 9-2 overrun. The Jets have played 5 straight unders. Calgary 6 of 7, and Tampa Bay 5 of 6. There's all your hockey numbers. Jonathan Davis likes goal first 10, Toronto and Vegas. He likes first period over Washington and the Rangers as well.
Yeah, I'll give you some more numbers here on the Lakers. Since Luka made his debut, the Lakers have allowed 20 uncontested three-pointers. That's 22.7 of opponents' attempts. That is ninth most over that span. Opponents have shot 34.5% on those shots. They have faced two teams who rank higher than 13th in non-garbage time offensive rating. So the Jazz, they've played them twice. They're ranked 23rd. Hornets are ranked 29th. The Mavericks are 23rd. The Clippers are 21st. They played them twice. The Pelicans are 26th.
Mm-hmm.
The T-Wolves are 13th, and Denver is number 2 overall. So it can be a little bit fugazi with who they have played.
Number 2 overall in what?
In the defense overall.
Okay. Denver can't shoot threes.
Denver is, again, second in non-garbage time offensive rating. So this is the true test coming up for the Lakers.
You're right, the road trip.
They get the Knicks tomorrow night. That's at home national TV. Then the road trip starts on Saturday. They're at Boston, national TV game. At Brooklyn, throw it out. They play at the Bucks, and then they're at Denver. Mm-hmm. But that is going to be a super solid 5-game test overall from start to finish beginning tomorrow night against some pretty damn good offenses slash teams.
Yep. And then we'll see now with the Malone and Joker, the adjustments they make after how they played them in the last meeting. You're right. Yep. When they come back and it's Denver again and some big boys. You're right. It's been great defense, but it's also guys missing wide open looks. So
I mean, I want to really, really tell you that, and in fact, I have done a 180 here, but not Shannon Sharp today. On whatever show he was filling it in, I saw it on social media. He said, I don't care who they play. OKC, it's 4-1. Okay. 4-1 Lakers.
Okay. He's a fanboy. All right.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Join us for the ultimate Follow the Money experience. Hang out. VIP Cabana, the best pool, the best sports book, Circa Stadium Swim. Spend the day with us. We'll do shots, blackjack, bet. Great experience, one-of-a-kind VIP experience. We showed you the views and in the video. That's your big boy with your private bathroom, private server. You got 4 big screen TVs in that thing alone. That's the owner's box as well, and that is your setup. And the kiosk is off to the right, and the blackjack tables off to the right. Beyond the Booth. First come, first served. Dates limited. vsin.com/beyond the booth. Reserve your day today at the best pool in the world. vsin.com/beyond the booth.
Mike Palm in studio up next, VP of this great property. His thoughts on conference tournaments going on tonight.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
It is Wednesdays with the Maestro. One segment today with Mike Palm, the VP of this great property here in downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. He's a very busy man, has to skedaddle in about 15 minutes, but still taking the time to pop in studio today for a good 10 minutes. How are you today, pal?
Oh, good afternoon, Mitch. Good afternoon, Paul. Happy Ash Wednesday to all the listeners. I haven't made it yet. I've got to go to an evening mass. Yeah, when I grew up, it was very easy to find a 4:30 or a 5 a.m. service. The earliest one in Las Vegas was 7. Can't do it with all the car lines and all that in the morning. So
it'd be tough to make
later. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. What time are you going to go tonight then?
There's a couple of options depending on when I get through the afternoon loop. There's a 5, a 5:30, a 6. So hopefully I get in 5:30 is the closest one to my house.
How do you like the pickup line for the kids at school?
It's insanity.
Is it fun? Is it good?
No, it's insanity.
How
I
early?
got there yesterday.
How early?
The gate's 3, right? Yeah. I got there yesterday at 1:55. I was maybe 40th in line.
It's
what?
That means people are getting there 2 hours before the bell to sit there and. I mean, I guess if you have a job you can do from your car, you can go park your car. And right now you don't have to have the car running because it's nice out. But how about in a month when it's 95, 100 degrees, and then what do you just burn a whole tank of gas sitting there for 2 hours?
Exactly what happens. I live right next to a school.
He's good on
right
this.
outside of our community.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so school usually is let out around 2:30, a little bit beyond that. Yeah. They will sit there at 12:45 in the summertime or borderline summertime, and just the AC's cranked. I'm just like, what are you doing? What is wrong with you? Why are you here 2 hours early? And people, we're talking about the rudest people you could ever imagine driving to get their kids at school.
Very bad drivers, Mitch.
Horrible.
Horrible drivers, yes.
They're the only people in the world that matter. right? The people who are driving and then their kids, that's it.
Yeah.
What did you do? I took
The double parking, forget about the right turn lane, right? They'll stack that up, and they'll double park and then stop and let their kids out from the lanes beyond that. Yes,
Oh, yes.
yes.
Oh, yes. I've seen it all.
You're defeated. I know.
We all walked to school when I was a
I
kid.
know. We took
right?
the bus or we walked.
Bus or we walked. There
I
was
know.
no carpooling and driving everybody.
Got to get picked up.
awful.
I can't
it's
believe
awful.
it. It's stunning.
So here we are Wednesday, really before championship or tournament week next week, right? So the smaller schools, getting underway. They have since Monday. They're, increasing the amount of games handle on these smaller games.
They're not bad.
Super solid.
They're not bad. I mean, they would be what mid-major games would be, on a regular week. And we'll have some good women's basketball this week as well. The SEC got their tournament underway. Are they having overtime in their tournaments or just a coin flip if it's tied after regulation?
Can you believe that?
I would have had that in
I
the
know,
thing.
missed that.
Did you see that, Mitch?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
So South Carolina, Texas is number 1 in the country, right? The Lady Longhorns, and South Carolina tied for the regular season championship in the SEC. They only have 3 tiebreakers, right? And it's record, so they only lost to each other. So all the other ones don't matter. It's record against common opponents and all. There's no point differential. So they tied. So they flipped the coin. Number 6, South Carolina won the coin flip. They'll be the 1 seed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
I couldn't believe
They had
There
a
you
coin
go.
flip Sunday
Can't
to see
believe
who
it.
was the 1 seed in the women's SEC tournament.
They have no, again, to your point about USC on the women's side,
Yeah.
I think they finally moved up,
Yeah.
but they killed UCLA
because they
on
had
the
to
road.
kill UCLA a second. Yeah.
But I mean, all those games that they were winning beforehand,
Yeah.
they could not move up beyond number
Never
4 in the
moved over
country.
4.
Okay, all right, sure. Do you like anything, by the way? Do you like anything tonight? Are you betting the lower
Played a
school
few
stuff?
Games. I played a few games tonight, just to dabble a little bit. Let's just start out. I said this a few weeks ago. I think this Joseph Wohl could be set to take these Leafs on a run. I really do.
All right.
A Bennington-like run that we saw 5 years ago from the Blues. I played them plus 150 tonight right here in Las Vegas against the Golden Knights. That's the only hockey I touched. The Senators are finally healthy. Now they need Allmark to play like. Why they paid him the money and got him from Boston. So I'm going to lay off because he hasn't been particularly sharp. I played Maryland tonight. I went back.
Here we go again with this.
I went back to that well. I'm
man.
going back to that well.
I know.
I plus 2.5 against Michigan. And I made a play in the pros tonight, a rare play I got from somebody. So
You made a play
What's
in the
the
NBA.
info? What's the
I don't know
info?
what the info is. This guy's pretty good at the pros. So
What
I
is
took
it?
a little shot. It's Blazers plus 9 tonight.
Oh,
All
okay,
right.
yeah.
So, all right, we got a
Gotta
little
get loose
action
here.
here and there.
Good.
We're going to get some good news with Boston.
Was it a week ago when Maryland lost to Michigan State? Was it a week ago today?
Yeah, because I gave
Very
that was my
popular
only play. That
A lot
night.
of people had them, yeah.
So were you watching the game live?
I watched the whole game.
You must have wanted to break something when the kid pulls up from 30 feet with 5 seconds
But
left.
let's be honest, Mitch. Michigan State dominated the second half.
They-
of that
yes.
game. They
They were
choked
the right
it away
side.
to have Maryland tied the game at the end. We were on the wrong side there. If you had, I thought
Izzo
If-
actually said after the game the right team won the game.
yeah. He did. They
Yeah,
did.
yeah,
They definitely deserved to win the game.
Yeah.
But how do you have the ball with 4 seconds and get beat in regulation? That's pretty hard
No
to do.
kidding.
That's a pretty sick beat.
No
I
kidding.
said, every setting up perfect, miss a 3, we might get a miracle cover in overtime. No. Drain it. One step, one dribble, and pop.
See some crazy stuff.
They're playing awfully well. I will say this about Michigan State, okay? In this era, it seems like most of these coaches don't like their players. And this NIL transfer era and all that, Izzo genuinely likes this team. They have no superstars, but you can tell he likes this team.
I haven't had a chance to talk to Derek. He was out of town yesterday. Has there been a buzz around the property? Have phone calls increased based on, hey, the best picture won and Circa was featured for the Oscar?
Well, that's very early to tell on that. We'll see. We didn't even know.
Really?
Well, we were
When
in
they were
Arizona.
shooting it?
Well,
When they shot it?
Yeah,
you
the
were-
marketing lady knew because she was with us in Arizona. But like Derek and I, David Rossborough was on the trip, so we went down Sunday morning to film some stuff for Marquee on the field right before the game. It's amazing. We were filming the segment, and it's time for the national anthem. Like the players are stepping around us. I got to meet Craig Counsell and Terry Francona. That was pretty cool. And what perfect weather, 73 degrees. But like people are texting us. We're at the Global Ambassador Hotel. having drinks with the president of the Cubs, Crane Kenny, and the marketing lady, and then we had dinner there. But everybody's blowing up our phones about Circa's on the Oscars Sunday night. And then we said, what's this? We didn't know they were filming. And Brooke's like, no, they just filmed on Fremont Street, and we had some good background. Like the Nugget was there, obviously. You could see the plaza. There was a pool scene in that movie. And then people said, oh, was that at Stadium Swim? But no, the pool scene, we came to find out, was filmed at the Palms.
Did they make it? Did it play it off as if it was at Circa?
No, but people thought because of the connection and the sign and all that, was that something to do with Stadium Swim? We didn't know. We did a little research, but we knew they didn't film inside the property.
Okay. That used to drive me nuts, by the way, when movies would showcase Las Vegas.
Yep.
And they would just... There's a scene in the movie 21 that's based on the book Bringing Down the House, the MIT Blackjack team.
No. It's not a bad movie.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
But the book's unbelievable.
Yeah, the book is incredible. So they're filming a scene like at the Hard Rock. I think in fact, they're in their room and they start to like make out and whatever. Their windows are open and they're overlooking the Bellagio fountains. I just lost my mind at the theater. I'm like, 90% of people have been to Las Vegas probably watching this movie, right? They know that this is absolute BS. What are you doing here? Don't lie to the audience. I got so mad at that scene. For like no reason, but it's like, come on, guys, be a little bit more accurate than that.
So remember when they revived the CSI with Marge Helgenberger? But I think they only did like 3 seasons, and then CBS didn't pick it up. They filmed 2 episodes a year here. But we had every scene they filmed, we had to make sure that there was no Circa background, that there was nothing that identified Circa, because it was just supposed to be whatever the name Tangiers or whatever the fictitious name of the hotel that Marge was working. And that was the whole premise. She now had ran her father's hotel, and then they brought her back to work with CSI. They filmed some scenes on the 8th floor of the Garage Mahal where the employees park, a couple scenes, because we had to evacuate, had to park lower the employees so that they could do the filming up there. But they were so specific about there can be nothing that identifies it as Circa.
Wild. Okay, that must be fun to deal with, huh?
Well, it's difficult because what do you think, like it's escalator scenes and just scenes in wide walkways. I mean, obviously you had the sports book in the background that would easily identify Circa.
Right. So coming back from spring training here, how many future bets do you have at this point?
I bet I hate to say this because Adam Burke, who authored the guide, his biggest fade is the Royals. I bet the Royals. I have the Royals over 82.5. I have them plus 330 to win the AL Central. I've got Corbin Burns at 10-1 for Cy Young in the National League. I bet Imanaga as well at 65-1. I have a little sweat with the Cubs. And that's what I have in pocket right now. I don't know. Of course, we'll add some more Cy Young stuff right before the season starts.
Are you getting there with the Red Sox yet? Or not quite?
You'd have to convince me they're absolutely going to play Bregman at third. Because that's a make or break for me. If he plays second and they let Devers, who's one of the worst third basemen in the league, play third, then this makes no sense to me. There's never been a player in Major League history that won a Gold Glove at third and then won a Gold Glove at second. It's happened twice the opposite way. But you've never converted a third baseman to second.
You like the rotation. You got to love the starting rotation.
I think Crochet has a lot more in him. The White Sox didn't let him show.
They
got to get a little more. I'm like your guy, Houck. Bello's not that bad, right? But and then they got 2 guys that have seen their better days too, right? Mm-hmm. So you never know. I think they could be the second best team in the East. The Yankee rotation and bullpen is unbelievable.
Right, it's really good.
It's really good.
It's really, really strong.
Yep.
All right, you got to get flying today. Good luck in that pickup line at school.
Oh, gosh.
Stay sane.
I'd try.
Okay. All right, there you go. Mike Palm, VP of Circa Resort and Casino. We have a lot of news to get into in the National Football League, which we're going to touch on, plus new odds on the next team for certain players who have been released next here on VSiN.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
All right, we'll get to this NFL news coming up in a moment. Updating news that we have now in the last few minutes in the NBA. In this Blazers-Celtics game, Jeremy Grant is out for Portland for the Celtics. Peyton Pritchard is available to play. Derek White's available to play. Drew Holiday ruled out. Finger. Porzingis is ill. Out of the game tonight. Jason Tatum, shoulder, is out of this game tonight. Jaylen Brown has an illness, but he is available to play. So the Celtics are down to about 7.5 or 8 in this game. I just took a little bit of 8 on the Blazers. But Grant's not the only guy they're missing. There's no Ayton in this game, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And
no Williams.
They've been, that's right, yep. They have been really, really hot.
Yeah.
I mean,
ATS and straight up.
It's not like the Celtics are, playing bad basketball by any stretch, but, this is a team where I'd much rather be betting the Celtics as like a small favorite on the road than I would be laying a big number at home, especially against a team that's really, really in a good spot right now. So there's other news here, too, in the NBA. Throw it out there. Halliburton's not questionable for tomorrow. Tyler Hero is out for the game tonight, taking on the Cavaliers. That's official.
And we had plenty of NFL news today, too.
Mm-hmm.
Lockett was cut. DK Metcalf wants to be traded.
I have odds on his next team.
Got that? So Grubb, and remember, is left, and now your OC is Kubiak. They couldn't get on the same page last year. So we'll see what that looks like. It's been floated, hey, is this a destination for Darnold? Could you do something there? But what happens with Geno Smith? So changes coming in Seattle. You'd see if teams line up for DK Metcalf or what happens. Bears made the trade, got Tunney. Huge. Bears get offensive lineman help. And then there's also a good report and breakdown based on what people were hearing and talking to all their contacts at the Combine. The Titans would go Ward, Carter, or trade. They prefer, their number one option is to trade. And then if they trade the pick, they would sign Darnold. And Darnold would be their quarterback. What they would do. Cleveland would like to take Ward, but obviously not going to be there if the Giants make the trade and the Giants move up to number one, and that's why they see they're $1.05 to take the number one pick. Also, Aaron Rodgers at one book is $1.50 to go to the Giants, which is another one here. So what's going to happen? But I think the deal will get done, and the Giants will get the number one pick. And then, according to all these reports and what happened at the Combine, that Darnold would go to Tennessee then.
So I don't like that move at all. Again, I think Darnold's okay in the right spot.
How about here? They cut Minshew today, although he wasn't going to be the quarterback anyways. But if the Raiders would pay Darnold, what they're going to do?
I don't love it.
Yeah, I know. Not a lot of sexy options out there now.
No, I think Darnold's got to be in the exact perfect spot for him, and there only a few of those exist.
What about Geno Smith out here? Does that do anything for you?
Like what is anything?
7 wins? 8 wins? I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure. They can win 7 games. Playoff team, no.
Would you want to draft Sanders and acquire Geno Smith? Would you rather have Geno than Darnold?
I would.
And the contract plays a big deal in
I don't hate the idea of taking Sanders 6 and signing Aaron Rodgers. I don't hate that idea.
Okay. Get the band back together. Maybe bring Adams in, too.
Possibly.
If they could kiss and make up.
But I also have odds here on Devontae Adams in his next team.
Right. And they also gave Crosby a huge extension. He is the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history.
Which, by the way, the first reaction that people should have is good luck trading for Myles Garrett and signing him. Because now you're going to have to give him more money than Max Crosby just got.
Okay, fair.
So I don't think... Now, to me, I would not be betting on anybody acquiring Myles Garrett. I'm thinking he's going to be back in Cleveland next year. That's going to take a lot. He's worth it, probably. It's going to be a lot of money to give that dude. So the odds on Devontae Adams' next team, globally speaking, Denver is the short shot at 4-1. Does that do anything for you, Pauly?
That's great. Yeah. They think they have their star quarterback. They made the playoffs. Get some more weapons around them. I think Adams was great at the back end of the season.
Got to tell you,
I think that's a good move.
Cortland Sutton, some of the younger guys that play wide receiver on that team, and Devontae Adams, pretty damn good in my opinion. Next up, the 49ers at 5-1 to replace now Deebo Samuel, who has been lost. And you still don't know, is Ayuk going to be ready for the season?
Right, I don't mind that. Right, that good point too. And then the Giants. Could it be Rodgers, Adams, and Neighbors?
That's actually not awful. They can score some points.
The
offensive line scares me to death still. But
I was listening to Peter Schrager on a podcast from NFL Network. The Giants think they're close and it can be competitive. Like they think they can come out here and compete for a playoff spot.
Absolutely no chance.
I know they're delusional.
Although, would you say that maybe a third place finish in the NFC East is possible? Because did you see the report today from Jerry Jones?
Yeah, I did.
He walked it back. It was his son who said they're going to be selectively aggressive in free agency, And then the comment today was, no, we're not going to be aggressive. I mean, again.
I know.
Like
how do you get excited? Why would you buy season tickets? There's no hope.
And Schottenheimer's the head coach?
I know. Oh, God.
Good luck.
Yep. You lost the press conference. Big time.
Okay.
Yep.
So the Packers, by the way, for Devontae, 6-1.
What do you got, DK?
Okay. The Packers are the short shot.
Ooh.
At 3-1.
Interesting.
DK goes to Green Bay. Jordan Love, Reed, Dobbs.
Yeah.
I can't even really say Watson because he never stays healthy, but that's a pretty good weapon there.
Someone's got to wind up in New England, you would think. They have to get Mace some help.
Yeah, they're 5-1.
And now with the Higgins news, and they tagged him, that doesn't look good. Diggs to re-sign with the Texans is plus 110. He's 3-1 to go to New England, 4-1 to go to Pittsburgh.
Oh, man, I guess you could maybe sell me on Pittsburgh a little bit because they need help as well. But Diggs does not really move the needle much for me at this point. How can he?
Yeah. Also off the big injury.
Sure, and he's been in the league now for quite a few years.
What do you think the Bears are going to do?
Well, we talked about this with Mike Palm before he left, and I was thinking about this today anyway. Now that they acquired the offensive lineman for the Chiefs, Joe Tooney, why not go the route of Ashton Genty in the first round? Ben Johnson with the Lions, they recently did that with Gibbs.
Yeah.
They took him high. I know it shocked a lot of people. Look at how he's turned out. Kid's phenomenal. So now you're set at wide receiver. Williams is in year 2. You have to give Ben Johnson the benefit of the doubt that he can make it work with that guy quarterback. And if you're going to improve the offensive line already in the offseason, maybe he just goes, yeah, we can have a repeat, and Genty can be my new Jahmyr Gibbs. And I don't hate it. I think that's a pretty solid move for the Bears already, if that's what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But the first move was offensive line because Williams, he likes to get out of the pocket on his own, but again, the offensive line was no great shakes last year.
Schrager said this, and he was getting it from people at the combine and coaches and front office people. I thought this was a great line. That Williams didn't have this last year. The backup was Bagent, and the coaching staff was horrendous. Who did Daniels have? Kingsbury and Mariota to lean on. You need a veteran quarterback as a backup and a guy with a ton of experience to come back after the series. What did you see? Who was open? What are you looking at? What's the coverage? Stuff like that, along with a great coach now and an offensive wizard. I think they would need that, too, to bring in a veteran quarterback as a backup to go along with Ben Johnson and help this kid out as well. I think that was a good point, which sure he was Superman, but it certainly helped that he had a veteran presence and a guy to help him out, and he got a great OC, which the Raiders blew that. He was available, couldn't work out the contract, and maybe whoever comes in here will have success with Chip Kelly, too.
As long as Williams is willing to listen.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I think he will.
I think we have to trust the offense with Ben. I don't know. Again, nobody has any idea what he's going to be like as a head coach. But offensively anyway, and that's his number one deal now to take over, obviously, I think we have to, again, say, yeah, guy was awesome in Detroit. Everybody wanted the guy. So we think that he can, and we're going to have faith in that guy turning it around on offense for sure. And, to the point of being competitive and what you're watching makes sense. And they have to correct that stuff from Williams right away, though, where, dude, you gotta play with a little bit more structure.
Yep. Well, yeah.
This is not Sandlot football every time you drop back to pass.
The coaching staff was horrendous, though. It's a monster upgrade. How delusional are the Giants?
Well, it's completely preposterous to think like that.
What are you going to do with Aaron Rodgers? Even if you get the number one pick, and you put Ward in there from day, it's going to be a struggle. Oh. I can't.
I will say the Jets did have some pretty solid offensive games last year. Not all of them. They weren't a machine, not saying that. But there were some games where it was clicking with Rodgers and Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams. So if you were to go to the Giants and they got Devontae Adams to go with Malik Neighbors, they will have moments, but what is that again? What does that mean? 6 wins?
Yeah, I would think. That's nuts. It was bizarre to hear that. But they're making moves. Biggest betting month of the year is finally here. Championship week tipping off. NBA, NHL playoffs around the corner. Players' Championship next week in golf. Opening day, March 17th in Tokyo. Get the VSiN Pro subscription. Every pick, every host, every guest. The betting guides, the March Mania guide, MLB betting guide, $9.99. Get in now. Don't bet blind. VSiN.com/subscribe.
The Wooden Award is over. Real or Fugazi? next on VSiN.